Hello and welcome to Downtime Podcast, episode 143. Today's a very yellow sky day, and I have my brother Jordan back on. Hello.
Hey, what's up? I'm back.
Wow. California's on fire.
Yep, it looks like Blade Runner 2049 outside.
Yesterday in particular was very 2049.
Yep.
If you remember that one scene.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just crazy. I took some photos. I went outside with my camera and just took some quick photos.
It's not as bad today, but yeah, it was really bad yesterday.
Today is piss yellow.
Yep.
Yesterday was orange. Yeah. I wish the fires would just stop.
Apparently the new fire started because of the whole gender reveal thing that someone... Have you heard about that?
I saw the memes. I don't know the context.
So there's this thing, when people have a baby, they throw a party to reveal if it's going to be a boy or a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually you cut a cake, and the cake inside is either dyed pink or dyed blue, depending on the gender.
Right.
But for some people, they have this bright idea of setting off a bomb.
What?
And it explodes in the color of either pink or blue.
Okay.
That's a thing, apparently.
Yes.
Like it's a known thing. And someone did that in California in a very dry area, and it lit a whole area on fire, and it started a new fire.
Do you know what area this was in?
I think it was somewhere... I don't remember. Somewhere in SoCal, maybe? But
okay.
Yeah, it's a really dumb thing to do, especially when there's already fires going on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they've caught the people that are responsible, and then hopefully they will have face appropriate repercussions.
No, I totally agree. That's really stupid.
Yeah.
I think there's a meme on the Yakuza subreddit of like a building explosion, and it said like gender reveal party, and I was like, huh. And I started trying to Google what it was.
Yeah, that's what that's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's stupid.
Yep.
It's
like, why can't you just get a cake? Why do you gotta set off a bomb to show what gender your baby is? All right.
Was it like one of those things you buy at the store?
I don't know.
Did they make it?
I have no idea. But it's like, I don't know, something you put a bunch of like colored powder or something in it, and it explodes when apparently it's pretty flammable because it lit a whole grass area on fire and it just got out of control.
Were these people like in a field?
I think there was footage of it, and yeah, it's like a back door, you know how some people live in like a grassy area, and like yellow grass open field area. Yeah, it looked like one of those areas.
So maybe it was like San Bernardino County or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I think I have to do more research before that. But because we're staying in, there's not... We can't go outside for two reasons now. Before it was just one big reason. It's like, okay, that's great. And I honestly didn't think there were going to be a lot of fires this year, and I mentioned that on a previous podcast, but now there are fires.
It seems like it happens every year now.
Yeah, exactly.
2020 just keeps getting worse. And again, this is something that seems to happen every year, the California fires. But this, on top of everything, just makes it worse, Yeah.
2020 is not looking good so far.
Yeah.
But at least people are finding ways and things to do while, we're all stuck inside, right?
Yep. As long as you're being safe about it, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I started watching Cowboy Bebop because... I don't know. People have been saying really good things about it for years, and I decided to start watching it.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard some really good things about it. Like, I've heard it's been the inspiration for a lot of different anime.
Yeah. It's in the 90s. It's from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to take place in, 2071. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, the dude who directed that went on to direct Samurai Champloo.
Oh, yeah.
So there's, I could see kind of the influence there. With I don't know how to explain it, the action, I guess.
Yeah, the style is kind of similar.
Yeah, it's very noir / western / sci-fi, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people say it's like Firefly. I'm like, okay, cool. I haven't seen Firefly either. I need to watch that.
I've seen some of it. Yeah, it's like retro futuristic.
Yeah.
Where it's take place in the future of space, but then a lot of older technology is being used.
Right. I think that's the appeal that a lot of people have for it too. I mean, the game Alien Isolation is also like that, where it's like, 'cause it's supposed to be, the aesthetic of the game is based on the first movie.
Yeah, so it's like the 80s/90s version of the future, basically.
Right, which is weird because if you look at movies like Prometheus and the prequel Star Wars trilogy movies, it's like it was made after the original movies, but it takes place before them.
Yeah.
So Prometheus has all these like holograms and stuff.
Yeah, which I appreciate about like Rogue One. You know, like a lot of people hate on the Disney Star Wars movies, but I do appreciate at least in something like Rogue One where they go back to the older aesthetic from the 70s where they're using like the plastic screens and the really low tech digital technology to make it look more closer to the original series or the original trilogy.
Yeah, everything is like practical.
Yeah,
it looks like you can actually hold stuff, and the like a lot of the effects are like, done practically or like they were hidden. Like there was really good CGI to like cover up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's good so far. I'm only on like episode 8, so I can't really say much about it yet. And I'm sure a lot of people have already seen this show, so they're just like, "Oh yeah, it's good." Like, "Oh, I can't believe you haven't seen it yet." It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's hard to watch everything that's good.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of content out there, and I think this is the time to watch it. But even so, like, I get distracted.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon, because it's on Netflix, and I'm paying for Netflix, but I haven't been using Netflix, honestly. But I've been meaning to watch that because I know it's like a lot of modern like animation, or how should I put it? Like a lot of people are inspired by that story, apparently.
Yeah.
A lot of people use concepts or use that as examples. Like I watch a lot of videos on YouTube about storytelling because I'm an aspiring writer, and a lot of people refer back to Avatar because they're like, oh, this is how you write a good character arc, or this is how you write good conflict between characters, or et cetera, or this is how you explain magic in your world, and so at some point I want to watch the series before Netflix inevitably loses that too, because Netflix doesn't have everything forever unless it's made directly by them.
Right, which is the opposite. And if you take the opposite, which is like Disney Plus, everything is going to live there forever.
Yeah, because it's all Disney, unless they decide to vault things like they used to do. But I hope that doesn't be the case.
I mean, oddly enough, they did remove some movies. Like one of the Pirates movies is missing.
What? Okay.
I don't know. Like they're like, hey, these things are disappearing from Disney Plus. I'm like, why? Don't you own all that stuff? Why is it there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's the same reason why Indiana Jones is missing from there, because Paramount owns the rights to the movies, exclusive streaming rights on other places. That's why they're on Netflix as opposed to Disney Plus, even though Disney owns Fox, or not Fox, even though
Lucasfilm.
Yeah, Lucasfilm. I think it's also, well, it's weird because there's the distribution rights, right? Yeah,
and that's important.
That's where it gets complicated.
Yeah,
but like the first few Avengers movies are on there, and those are produced by, or they were distributed by Paramount Pictures.
Oh yeah, because before Disney bought Marvel, they were doing their own. They went to other companies to produce things, right?
Yep, and it's insane that they were able to put that on Disney Plus. I guess there was
I'm sure there's more money in Marvel than there is in Indiana Jones. Like, just being honest, Indiana Jones is a classic. It's great, but I'm pretty sure there's more money in Marvel.
Yeah. With the amount of money each movie has made sequentially, like billions of dollars. Each one has made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Or at least almost there. But in any case, I also want to watch or finish Last Airbender. I started watching it a few months ago.
Yeah.
I'm on season 2. It's pretty good. But I got distracted with other things. Watching other things. It's so hard because like everyone's like, oh yeah, you have all this time to watch all these things. And I'm like, okay, but I need to like actually sit down and focus on it. But then someone else comes out of nowhere, like, hey, you should watch this. And I'm like, God damn it. Stop telling me to watch
there's
things.
There's a lot of things I need to watch, and I've been meaning to start reading more as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there. Even when you're trapped indoors all day, there's still a lot of stuff out there to consume.
Yeah. and you also need to play things at the same time.
Yep, I've been doing a lot of that. Definitely.
I've tried watching something and playing something at the same time. It doesn't work out for me because I need to be focused on one thing.
Yeah. Sometimes I listen or I'll play videos on my second screen while I'm playing a game, and I usually don't even remember anything from the video.
Yeah, because you're too focused on what's happening in front of you.
Yeah, sometimes I'll look over and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then I just won't remember it. You know, it's like trying to remember a dream, right? It was like at the time it seemed really real and like you were in it. But then afterwards you're just like, I don't really remember. So sometimes I find myself rewatching videos that I remember watching but don't remember exactly what it was about. Just because but sometimes it's just kind of just background noise. Like I'll play a podcast in the background while I'm playing a game, and then, you know, sometimes I'm not that interested in the subject, but it doesn't matter anyways. It's just kind of background noise.
Have you? So I know you like video essays. Have you watched Captain Christian?
No, sounds familiar. Yeah, I think you showed me.
Videos,
I think you showed me some of his videos, but yeah.
Yeah, because he goes into details about a lot of really cool things, like the differences between the American version of the 1954 Godzilla movie and the Japanese one.
Yeah. You mentioned that.
Yeah. Check him out. Like he kind of slowed down in making content, but his content is like it's high quality.
Ooh,
Chef's kiss high quality.
Lately, I've been watching it's Game Maker's Toolkit. I believe GMT is the channel, and he's the guy who goes over he basically goes over the techniques and strategies used by game developers for, like, you know, making games. Like I have no intention of like designing my own game or becoming a game dev. That'd be cool if someday I get the opportunity. I'm not actively seeking that out though, but yeah, it's just kind of cool seeing behind the scenes of like how choices are made to balance a game or level design, or how people take certain features and expand upon them in a game. So the game is like essentially designing itself, or like he'll do case studies where he takes a specific game and analyzes it and what makes it good. Like why do people consider this game good, or why do people consider this game bad? And it's kind of cool just seeing that process and like how that works, and going to like the psychology of it sometimes, talking about why certain things are designed a certain way to alleviate player frustration, or to alleviate the fact that if people find a way to exploit a game, they will. Like that's just human behavior. Like if the easiest way for defeating a boss is to cheese it, then people will cheese it, right? Like people will hide in a corner and take pot shots at the boss until it dies if that's the easiest way. And so, like, you know, for game developers, it's a struggle to make sure that your game is well balanced and that you push players towards the specific kinds of behavior that you want. And I don't know, I find that interesting. So I've been watching a lot of that channel.
It's funny you mentioned that, because that's the whole point of speedrunning, is people finding exploits in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And people will there's always going to be people who do that, who will find a way to exploit a game. And sometimes game developers will embrace that. Like there's, in one of the games I play, Warframe, there's, normally you can run, jump, sprint, etc. And people found that if you like jump and crouch at the same time, you could do like this weird exploit where you like jump through the air faster. It's just like a way of moving faster. And they decided, hey, we're just gonna turn that into a mechanic in the game. It's called bullet jumping, where they made it a little easier to do, where you jump through the air, and then if you press crouch, you like launch yourself forward. So yeah, sometimes game developers will be like, oh, if this mechanic's really fun, we'll add it to the game. Or I think Mario had something like that with like wall jumping. They turned it into a mechanic.
Right.
But yeah, other times, people will find something that's fun. Like another game I play, Destiny 2. Whenever people find a fun exploit that makes the game either easier or it's cool, the developers will just delete it.
Oh.
Bungie is notorious for taking the fun out of its own game.
I mean,
but people play it anyways, and I still play it. Like I still enjoy the good parts of it, but it just sucks when people are like, wow, this is really fun, or this is a cool build, or like this is a cool way to play the game, and then Bungie's like, we're gonna balance this and remove all the fun out of it. And sometimes it's like not even. I get it if it's like a PvP thing, because it's like it cheapens the experience, and everyone in PvP is gonna use a certain weapon because they can exploit it or whatever. But when it's PvE, I feel like it's kind of sucks when people are using a cool mechanic and then they just delete it.
Those are my exact frustrations with Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
It's like everything is so cool in your build, and then the developers decide to change how the perk works, or change how the killer's perks work, and you're like, shit, all my perks are useless now.
Yep.
It's like, what the hell? I totally feel that sentiment. So moving on to news. Before we go into stuff that we're playing, we kind of touched on that just now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of news that's happened since the last time we spoke.
Yep.
And some of the highlights I want to touch on are Mandalorian Season 2. It's coming out next month, October 30th.
They filmed all of that before COVID got really bad, right?
I don't know.
I believe they did. As far as I heard, they filmed and finished everything before COVID came out, so it wasn't really impacted. I think that's why there shouldn't be a delay on it. But yeah.
That makes sense, considering that the first season was so well received. And I think if they did have to do pickups, I'm hoping that... Have you seen those like giant Unreal Engine 4 screens?
It's mostly filmed indoors.
Yeah,
as much as it looks like it's outdoors, it's mostly filmed indoors.
It's
so
it's
cool. Doable.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Mandalorian's already wearing a mask, so... So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, yeah. But I heard the Batman got delayed because of COVID-related things.
I mean, I can wait for that film.
And the thing about the Batman is he wears a mask covering his entire face except his mouth. So he's just spreading COVID everywhere.
Right? Just coughing on everything. He's just, the opposite of what Batman's supposed to do.
Yeah. But anyways, Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian, to your point, they most of it shot indoors. If they have to do pickups, they probably did it against those giant like LED. Are they LED? Those giant screens.
Giant screens. I know they use Unity. I think it's Unity.
It's Unreal Engine.
Unreal. Oh yeah, it's Unreal. Yeah.
And but there were some exceptions. If remember they had a shootout in that village in the first season.
That was probably it looks like
that was a real set
outdoors.
somewhere.
Yeah. And when they're walking through the desert, sometimes it's real. Sometimes it's just a big screen. When it's more flat, it's probably just a big screen. But if he's like climbing up a mountain, that's probably outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. Without going into spoilers about any characters, because I don't think if we talk about certain characters, I think that's a kind of a spoiler, and I feel like a lot of people still haven't caught up with the first season yet. So October 30th, that's when it's coming out. Of course, the kid's back, Mandalorian's back. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I don't want to say anything else because
I've tried not to look too much into it because nowadays like you can find spoilers just by finding out what actors are going to be in something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's always headlines of so and so is returning, and it's just like, well, I guess that spoils some of it for me. Or so and so from this movie's going to be in the show, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of a spoiler. So yeah, I've been kind of avoiding news on upcoming shows or movies just because it's hard to avoid spoilers these days.
Yeah, I think it's better if you just black out from that and you just go into the movie blind. You're like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening. You get so hyped.
I'd prefer to do that more.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. So yeah, I'm excited. October 30th. We got to watch it.
Yep.
It's on Disney Plus. Moving on to the next bit of news. Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Sunshine. Yeah. It's going to be like Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy?
Yep. Right? Yep. Just the first Galaxy, not the second one. I don't know why. They should have just put both Galaxies on there.
They just wanted a trilogy-looking thing.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't care. I already played those games. So.
Yeah. I mean, they're good games. I don't know, maybe, because I need more games for my Switch. I haven't been playing Animal Crossing as much. And I bought a Switch, so I might as well get something. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, those are not bad games to play, but like we've played those. We have all three of those games on their respective platforms.
Played them to completion. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm just like, I see it again. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Sunshine at 60 frames per second. That's a lot of people's dream.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Yeah, it's cool, and I'm sure they've updated it a bit, especially 64. But I mean, it's good for people who are looking for a big nostalgia kick, or people who like a new audience, opening it up for a new audience, especially for kids who haven't been able to play that kind of thing because it's on older consoles. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure if I'll pick it up either. But yeah, maybe kind of mildly interested in it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I hope that it does well because I think this is kind of Nintendo's testing pool to see how N64, Wii, and GameCube games do.
Yeah.
Of course, Mario is going to be the headliner for that, but I want more GameCube games on the Switch because I think that's going to be really awesome.
Yeah, or it'd be cool if they remastered N64 games.
Yeah.
Remastered Banjo-Kazooie would be cool, but I know it's kind of tied up in a rare situation that's Microsoft owned and whatever. But I don't know why even Microsoft, I don't know why they don't remaster the original Banjo-Kazooie. Just release it with better graphics, and because I barely remember the first one. I remember the second one pretty well, but I barely remember the first one. I'd probably buy a remaster of that, although it would probably be on Xbox or something.
I mean, they did have the Rare Replay collection, I think it was called, and it had Banjo-Kazooie. It wasn't remastered. It was remake is when you update the graphics and change all the whole gameplay from the ground up, right?
Yeah.
Remaster is when you take
When
a game.
you take a game and then you update the graphics to modern.
They
standards.
didn't really update it.
It just looks the same graphics and everything.
It's just playable on one disc with the other Banjo and all the other Rare games. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people want like Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye, but that's a little bit more difficult, I'm sure.
Yeah, GoldenEye especially because GoldenEye is also Rare, I think, and also you know, James Bond 007 is also owned by, was it MGM? Or?
Yeah, and then I think they licensed it to Activision. I don't know if that license expired or not.
Oh yeah, so that's probably more complicated.
Yeah, and then there's also Donkey Kong 64, but that's difficult because Rare was the one that made it, but Nintendo had the characters.
Oh yeah, like Diddy Kong Racing is another classic.
Yeah,
also Rare. So yeah, it's all tied up.
Nintendo should have just bought Rare.
And rights, yeah.
Microsoft beat them to it.
Yeah.
So continuing on with Nintendo news, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity is coming out.
Is that the Dynasty Warriors style Legend of Zelda thing?
Mm-hmm. It was announced recently. It's so in Breath of the Wild, it takes place 100 years after this whole event that had this huge battle with like Calamity Ganon.
Yeah.
And Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild, so you're fighting in that battle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. You know how it ends.
Is it going to be canon? Because I know the first Hyrule Warriors was not canon because you could play as female Link, who's not canon.
I know, right?
Who's not canon.
I still want to buy that game. I've heard like really mixed things about it. It is. We should play
cool.
it.
Yeah, it looks cool. We played Dynasty Warriors.
I know, but
is there a Musou mode? Or
there is. Yes, there is. Yeah. It's literally a Warriors
Musou
game.
mode. I don't know how it's pronounced, but
I call it that too. But I mean, I'm excited for this one. I haven't beaten Breath of the Wild yet, but I mean, I want to play it. It looks like Zelda. Well, I looked at the it wasn't really, I guess it was a trailer. It was like a 2-minute trailer that showed not really gameplay, but like just like stuff that was in the engine, like some cutscenes and also some minor gameplay details. It looked cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know, we got to wait for a full trailer. And it is canon because Tecmo worked with Nintendo directly.
Okay.
To make it so that Nintendo oversaw the whole process of the game to ensure that it wasn't just a Warriors game, that it was also linked into the to the franchise as a whole. So that's cool. Yeah. And my last bit of Nintendo news is about the Switch. So a lot of people know that the Switch has been sold out for months now.
Yep.
Since the start of COVID. So Nintendo originally had an order of 25 million units to be shipped, but then they bumped it up to 30 million. They added 5 more million. So expect a new slew of Switches to come in. So that's exciting.
Well, yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 5 million's not a whole lot.
I mean, but
we'll see.
30 million is a big number, but how many of those will be sold, we'll have to see. I think all of them. I hope all of them. I mean, a lot of people have been begging for a Switch, and there's supposed to be a rumored new Switch coming out.
Oh yeah, the updated.
Just say Switch Pro.
Yeah, like Switch Pro. Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it.
Apparently, Nintendo is going to release it next year because they are waiting for PlayStation and Microsoft to release their consoles.
Gen. It's kind of like a next gen Switch, sort of.
Yeah, they're not calling it that, but it's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, people are speculating like 4K or at least like.
It's like the 3DS versus the DS, kind of.
Yeah, or like 3DS XL versus 3DS. I would say.
Yeah. It's like it plays the same games, but you'll have some updated,
higher resolution
graphics and stuff like that.
Yeah, because the Switch is only 720p, so people are either saying 1920 by 1080, which is probably the more like plausible one, or 4K. I don't think 4K.
I don't know about 4K. I don't know if the Switch can do that, but maybe.
I think that thing would probably overheat if it was 4K.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. Maybe they have better heat sinks, a better processor, and graphics card in there, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna get it. I'm pretty happy with what I have.
Yeah, we'll see.
But there are some people that are like, I need to have the Animal Crossing version, or I need to have this version.
Yeah. I mean, I bought a Switch Lite, so maybe I might consider it depending on the price point, and I probably won't buy it right away. I'm the type of person who always waits till they work out all the bugs and stuff.
Yep.
Because, as much as you'd like to think that things would be released without issues, stuff often releases broken. So I'll wait. Once it gets released, I'll wait and see if like once they've basically ironed out all the issues.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel about the PS5 because that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
So another bit of news, Yakuza 7, aka Yakuza Like a Dragon, is going to be released on November 13th.
Mm-hmm.
I pre-ordered it on Amazon. An email came in saying, hey, you get the Daiichi edition, because the character's name is...
what does that come with?
It comes with like additional costumes. Like you can wear the costumes of the characters from the previous games, which is weird.
So is the main character a new character?
Yeah, it's a soft reboot of the series. It takes place, some of the older characters appear, but you play as a whole new guy. His name is Ichiban Kasuga, and the edition's called Daiichi.
His name is Ichiban?
Yeah, and the edition of the game is called Daiichi. Do you get it? It's day one.
Yeah, day one.
So
yeah.
stupid. Okay.
It's like using English and Japanese at the same time. All right.
I love it. It's so dumb. So I'm excited for that. That's coming out. Ubisoft Forward. There was an Ubisoft event today at 11:50 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
And they announced some really cool things. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time Modern Remake is coming out.
A full remake?
Yeah, full remake.
That's cool.
Updated graphics. It looks like a current gen game.
I've never played Prince of Persia games, but that
Same.
sounds kind of interesting.
So if you buy the pre-order, you get the original skin from the first game, which is like he's like half naked, and you get like the original knife and some other things. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. It looked interesting. I mean, I'm interested, but I don't know. I don't really have a big attachment to the franchise. But if they're remaking the first game, I guess this is the time to play it.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm sure they're trying to see how interested people are, just to see if, because like as far as I know, they haven't made like a sequel in a really long time.
Yeah.
So I bet they're just trying to see how interested people are in the franchise, and then they'll probably make more games if this does well.
It's like the whole Super Mario 3D All Stars thing. It's like they just want to see if people are interested, so that they can keep making more. So another game that's coming out is called Riders Republic. It's about like biking, like motorcycle, dirt biking, but also like bicycle racing, wing gliding, skiing, snowboarding. And it's just like, doing cool adrenaline junkie sports. And there's a multiplayer mode where there's like 50 people in one match, and you're all biking down a hill. Sound familiar?
Cool.
So I feel like
Battle Royale.
I feel like Battle Royale has evolved from killing each other in like, what was it, Daisy? It was Daisy that started off that whole thing.
Yeah, or like Minecraft Hunger Games.
Like
Minecraft mods
okay.
and stuff
I
like
don't
that.
know the exact one, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
Minecraft. Let's say it's the movie Battle Royale.
Yeah, the movie Battle Royale, and then it was the movie Hunger Games, and then both of which are based off of books. And then Minecraft was like, hey, we'll take that and turn it into a mod. And I think DayZ also took that. There's like a mode where there's like, it was a Battle Royale mode.
And then H1Z1.
Yeah, H1Z1, and then like
calling.
And then eventually PUBG happened, and then that exploded. And then Fortnite happened, that exploded, and then now you have like Apex Legends and a whole bunch of other smaller Battle Royales.
And then this evolved into Fall Guys, which is basically a runner. And then you now have games that are including this mod, like this, not a mod, like a game.
Yeah, like this Tetris 99, which is a Tetris Battle Royale.
Now there's Super Mario. Was it 30 or something like that? Because it's
Super Mario Battle Royale.
35? Super Mario 35. Yeah, it's Mario Battle Royale.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't know what that entails, but I heard about that.
So everyone starts off with level 1 in the original Super Mario Bros. And you have to beat the game. You have to beat that level as fast as you can, and you can like mess with other players because you can see everyone else's screen on the sides. And then you can like send power ups or like you can mess up their game by selecting.
So it's basically like Tetris 99.
Exactly. Yeah, which is Mario.
Original Mario. Okay.
it's a Mario Battle Royale.
Interesting.
They did it.
Yeah, everyone will find a way to work in. It's the new fad. Like last time it was MOBAs, and now it's Battle Royales. And I'm curious to see what the next trend will be in video gaming.
Someone asked us, what do you like, Alyssa and I? Where do you think the next trend will be for Battle Royales? And I remember saying, like, I think it's going to stay here. And I think I was kind of right because it's evolved.
There's not a melee-focused Battle Royale, like a Dark Souls, For Honor Battle Royale, something with melee combat. I'm surprised there's not anything like that. A new one that came out that some of my friends, I haven't really touched it, my friends are playing is Spellbound. Have you heard about that one?
Yeah.
It's like a third-person magic Battle Royale.
Is it free to play, right?
Yeah, it's free to play.
Oh, okay.
And so it's cool because you use different elements, and the elements can mix together. If you've ever played something like Magicka, it's kind of like that, where like there's fire and toxin and ice, and like if two different elements hit each other, they interact differently. So it's kind of cool looking. I don't know if it's really for me per se. It looks really fun though. But there's so many battle royales. I've just been sticking to Warzone for now.
Yeah. No, I feel like you can't play it like we said. You can't watch everything. You can't play everything.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just too much. There's too much.
Yeah, because you're playing. Well, we'll go into what we're playing later. Okay, so moving on. Still on Ubisoft, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, complete editions coming out for all systems. So, I mean, I'm interested. It's a 4-player co-op beat 'em up.
There's not a lot of those types of games nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's very retro, yeah.
I'm really excited about that. I'm trying to get more games on the Switch because it's easier to play with people.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point, you know.
Yeah.
That's what they encourage.
So that's interesting. Rainbow Six Siege is coming to next-gen consoles. PS5 and Xbox Series.
Did they release anything about Rainbow Six Quarantine?
That's the thing?
Yeah.
I did not know. What is that?
There's a game called Rainbow Six Quarantine. So there was a mode released, I believe it was on Halloween.
Okay.
For Rainbow Six Siege, where it's like a zombies mode.
Okay.
You know, similar to something like Black Ops Zombies. I didn't actually play this mode. This is just what I heard about.
Yeah.
And they made a game out of that. You know, where it's using the Rainbow Six characters, so you play as some of your favorite characters, like I don't know, Sledge, Lion, whoever, and and there's like zombies, and you fight zombies, and so like it uses, I'm assuming the same engine, similar mechanics, but yeah, it's like a zombies mode. It's called Rainbow Six Quarantine, apt name, but I believe this was in development way before COVID. It just happened to. They just happened to release a trailer like a couple months ago during, when this whole pandemic started.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, that's a thing. But if you haven't heard about it, I guess they didn't announce anything at the conference.
I haven't. I just know that it's coming to next gen. And I think this is probably the most popular Rainbow Six game ever.
Yeah, like I don't really hear too much about the other ones. Like I know there's been plenty of Rainbow Six games, but this is the one that's the most popular, for sure.
I mean, you think they would have like a Rainbow Six something after that, but I don't know. Maybe this is just because it's like their most popular esports game, so they can't let it go.
I think they're just gonna. It's one of those games where they're gonna try to make it last as long as they can.
Yeah. Instead
of just releasing a new iteration, like that's the way that most games these days are. Games as a service is the model now. Like Destiny 2 is coming out with an expansion in November, and it's supposed to be sort of a soft reboot of the game. But like, yeah, they're getting rid of a lot of things and adding a few new things, which we'll see how that works out. But yeah, like it's gonna still be Destiny 2 technically. But yeah, basically, it looks like that's the way a lot of games are going. It's just gonna be a service that they're gonna try to make as much money off of as long as they can, which I'm fine with for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, people don't have to spend $60 a year on a new release like Call of Duty.
Yeah, like imagine if they made a Dead by Daylight 2, and they just got rid of all your progress and suddenly here's a new game sequel. It's like that'll probably make a lot of people frustrated, but honestly, people would probably still play it. But yeah, it just seems safer for a lot of companies to just keep on going with the same game and just updating that same game over and over.
Yeah, that's why I think Dead by Daylight is not going to get a sequel, because the game is doing so well right now, and the developers just keep cranking out content. And I think they're using it kind of in that style, like you said, games as a service.
Yeah. Because there's a ton of DLC, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, imagine someone who bought all that DLC and then they're like, "Oh, new game." Then people will be like, "What happens to all my DLC? Do I get that? Do I get all the same characters when I play the new game?"
What's interesting is they came out with a new DLC like a couple days ago. They added a new killer, a new survivor, but on top of that, they added a graphics update. So the game looks like a sequel, kind of, because it's all like next gen. It looks like next gen graphics.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and then again, like I was saying, like even when they do release a sequel, a lot of games are still doing it's still connected to the like Overwatch 2.
Oh God,
it's just an expansion. It seems like it's just an expansion of Overwatch. It's not really a sequel. But it's just, you slap the 2 on there so you can market it as a sequel, and people are like, "Ooh, new game."
They shouldn't have done that. They should just.
I get it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's still part of the games as a service Overwatch model. And then Path of Exile is also coming out with a sequel, Path of Exile 2, which is the same thing. It's a campaign expansion, so you could still switch between Path of Exile 1 and 2. And you still keep all your cosmetics or microtransactions if you pay for those, which I have paid for a lot of those actually. So I'm glad that but it's gonna be a new campaign, and it's gonna be new skills and things involved. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, it shows that you like the game a lot to give it money, and we've talked about this countless times.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, Watch Dogs Legion will feature a special Stormzy cameo. He's like a London rapper. I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
But I watched it and I was like, okay, that's because it takes place in London. So they're like, hey, let's get a London rapper in here.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, all right.
Should I? I don't know. But I was like, okay. I'm curious about Watch Dogs Legion, but
it looks cool in concept.
yeah, but as we know, games like that look cool, but when you play it, is it that cool?
Yeah, I'll wait to see reviews and stuff. But
because I waited for the first one, and people were like, meh. I waited for the second one. I was like, oh, it's an SF.
Yeah.
And people were like, eh. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna play that then.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll wait and see. But I like. It's a really cool concept that you can just recruit different people and pretty much anyone basically. You can recruit anyone that you see, and there's no main character, which might be a flaw. Like it might be harder to attach yourself to the story if there's no main character, because it's just anyone. But at the same time, maybe that'll make you attach more because you're like, I chose this person. This is my person that I found. This is my grandma that I'm playing. You can play as an old lady. And
then she dies, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, so I don't know. Again, it's a cool concept. We'll see if it ends up being executed well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's all that happened from Ubisoft Forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are the biggest highlights I wanted to cover. I'm sure there were other things, but yeah, I wanted to just talk about those. So moving on to the next bit of news. Fall Guys came out recently, and now they're already getting a season 2, and it's medieval themed.
Yep, I saw. I bought it recently, and I've been playing it a little bit.
Same, yeah.
And I have not won yet. I've gotten second place twice. Yeah. I have not won yet.
I haven't won either.
I have a friend who won twice in a row.
Was he the one that you were in second place with?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But he won twice in a row, and he won with the same game. The last game was that one where one person has a tail and everyone has to chase them. And every time we play that game, like he either gets really far or he won twice in a row when we play that game. But yeah, it's really fun though. It's really fun. There are hackers though. I've run into hackers, and some of them make it really obvious. Like they just fly across the map and win. And I'm like, what's the point? Like. What, like they're not even trolling you. They literally, like, the guy literally just flew to the end of the map and immediately won. It's just like, okay, you're not even like trying to piss people off. Like you're literally just doing it just to win. Like you're not even like waiting at the edge taunting people. Like so I don't know what joy they get out of that. Like what?
You don't pay for anything in the game like with real money. Everything is bought like with in-game currency.
So I don't. The only thing I can think of is they're doing one of those things where you rank up your character and get a bunch of crowns and stuff and unlock all the rewards, and then you sell the account. That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, I see.
But otherwise, like, what's the point?
Yeah, that's
like, what is the point if you're just instantly winning?
Yeah, that will get boring really fast.
Yeah, so I don't know.
There's no skill.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like there's any kind of anti-cheat, so I hope it doesn't become a more common thing.
The developers did come out and say that they do have an anti-cheat program built in, and they detect when people are cheating. Because I've seen people, like, the hexagon level at the very end, people just float above it, and I'm like, okay. But apparently the game developers can, like, they built something into the game where it detects if people are doing those kinds of things. And they said most of the time it catches them, but another part of the time it's they get their sources from people giving them tips about other players who are cheating.
Yeah, because I think you can report players, but
I don't know how.
But
I know it is possible. Yes.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, it is a game you have to pay for, so there is a sort of a barrier to entry, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't become a problem, because cheating is in any PvP game. Cheating is always going to be a problem, no matter what.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've experienced that in Call of Duty.
Yep.
Many times.
It's less obvious, in a game like Call of Duty, because people, when people can like turn aimbot on and then turn it off. But yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yep. Speaking of Call of Duty, next bit of news is about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. What a title.
Yep.
It's about, so the single player story is about you start in the 60s in Vietnam, and then you end up in the 80s, and most of the game is taking place in the 80s. And it features like a Ronald Reagan CGI version.
Yeah.
That was like their biggest focus on the trailer, at least. The thumbnail is of him. I'm like, okay, you want me to look at CGI Ronald Reagan? That's cool.
In a video game, yeah.
Yeah. And it's about like, I don't know, finding out who a spy is in the U.S. government.
Yeah, like a Russian spy.
Something like that. And then the multiplayer is, they didn't talk about something Battle Royale related, but I know it's coming. So the trailer didn't feature too many zombie stuff. In the beginning, it was just like, oh, here's the maps around the world that you can play in. And one of them was Miami. And then the beginning of the trailer is like, what are we doing in Miami? I'm like, what are you doing in Miami? So I was like, okay. So it looks like your typical Call of Duty multiplayer stuff. And at the very end of the trailer, in the post-credit scene of the trailer, they show zombies. And I was like, okay.
So, yeah, like it's a staple of Black Ops to have zombies.
Yeah, I think that's... No, it started at World at War. That's where it started. And then I think Black Ops just took it and made it.
Yeah. And I believe... Because I bought Black Ops 3 explicitly for the zombies mode, because it includes previous map, all of the previous content of zombies, and as well as new maps and stuff. Pretty fun. It's basically like its own game. Like the zombies mode is like pretty much its own game. I don't know why they don't just release Black Ops Zombies as its own separate game. Like, if you're trying to milk a franchise, you could definitely do that. Like I would buy just the zombies mode, honestly. Like it's just enough. It's enough for me. But yeah, zombies is kind of interesting to me.
It's also interesting because it comes from a time when everything had zombies. You know, it came out in like, what was it? World at War came out in 2007, 2008. And that's something like Left 4 Dead. Yeah, that was at
Killing
the height.
Floor.
Yep. The height of everything having zombies.
Daisy. All that stuff.
And so a lot of the franchises are still kicking it, like Killing Floor 2. Obviously, they're not
still doing decent.
Yeah. Even though they might not be zombies, they still act like zombies.
I was looking at like the Steam like top 100 games played, and Left 4 Dead 2's up there still.
Yeah, I have some like
people still play that.
There's some Steam friends I have that I don't talk to anymore. That every time I'm on, they're playing Left 4 Dead 2. I'm like, what are you doing?
I'm like, as far as I know, Valve doesn't really update its game that much anymore. So is there new content? But I guess it's the mods. Like the modding community could pump out new stuff all the time if they want, and that's probably where like people are still playing Skyrim, probably because of the mods. Like so I imagine there's probably still some really good mods out there for Left 4 Dead 2, and people are getting content out of that.
That's what happens when you give people the SDK. They just start making stuff.
Yeah, I wish more games did that. Like, I'm surprised. Well, I won't. I mean, it's a new game, but I'd imagine at some point Fall Guys would probably create a level designer.
They said they're looking into it.
Yeah, that would be cool. And just have people create community maps, and then some of those people could share those, and some of those can become official maps. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what like games like Killing Floor and TF2 did.
Yeah, it's literally like it takes work to develop the tools. Because you're not just gonna give them the exact tools that the developers are using. You have something specially tailored towards people who are less technologically savvy with it. But yeah, I imagine it's a good investment because again, you're getting free content for your game, and clearly with things like Skyrim, like it increases the longevity of the game. So I imagine I wouldn't be surprised. I hope they create something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're working on it. They just need to figure out how they're going to release it.
Yeah, like just look at Minecraft. Like people do some crazy stuff with the mods and like create entirely new game modes with Minecraft.
Yeah,
like that's where the whole Minecraft Hunger Games thing came from. That spun off into Battle Royale. So
yeah, very cool.
Excited to see that.
So the next two pieces I want to talk about are Nvidia they announced their 3000 series cards.
Oh yeah, I saw that, and they're pretty affordable. Like surprisingly affordable.
Well, the first one, the 3090, starts at $1,500, $1,499 exactly.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's not crazy. It's not crazy expensive, but it's still pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. The 3080 is going to be $699, which is a significant price.
That's definitely much more affordable.
And the 3070, which I think is really interesting, is going to be $499.
Yeah, so $500.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's like about cards today still. Some of the cards are $500.
Like I have a 1060 still, and if I'm looking to upgrade, like $500 is not that bad for, a decent upgrade.
Got to make sure your motherboard and CPU are compatible.
Yeah, I definitely need to
Otherwise
upgrade
you'll bottleneck something.
Yeah, I definitely need to upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still running on my CPU and my RAM are from 2014, and my graphics card is from 2016. I have the 970. It's still holding up. Yep. I mean, I could still play all today's modern games.
Yep.
Which is dope.
Yeah.
But, there comes a time when your computer starts to age.
Yep, because games are gonna get more and more crazy advanced, especially when like the next gen consoles come out, and then you're gonna expect that are pretty high powered, and you're gonna expect PC games to match that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not like super in like how do I put this? I'm not super intent on upgrading, but it's definitely something I'm looking into.
Yeah, and the I mean, you have games like Cyberpunk coming out.
Oh yeah, that's right, and
So-
that's gonna have a lot going on in it.
Yeah.
Visually. So
I'm wondering if my setup can handle it, but I think it will be able to if I turn the graphics down.
I'm sure, because again, like if you're a company making a game, you want to cater it so that you want to design it so that it caters to a wide audience, right?
Mhm.
So I'm sure they'll have I hope that's optimized well, and that even on high settings it'll run on most rigs. Maybe not ultra settings, but maybe at least on high settings it can run on most rigs.
Right. I'm sure there are some people that are building their setup just for that.
Yeah.
To run it on ultra, which is cool, like that. I think
I probably definitely won't be able to run it on
me
ultra.
neither.
Or at least on high with some medium settings.
Yeah, same.
So it looks good enough. I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. Like, I'm not a streamer or anything. But
No, yeah. I mean, if you were streaming at the same time, then you need something a little more than that.
yeah, I think that's the kinds of people who buy like the greatest stuff is people who are streaming. Because obviously, if you're streaming, you're running the game, which could be a super high quality game on the high settings, and then you're also streaming that to the internet, and you're also streaming yourself usually because they have like a camera. You might be running other software in the background. So yeah, like I imagine streamers are the ones that buy all the latest and greatest high quality stuff. But the average person, a $500 GPU is fine.
You're like, hell fucking yeah. You just start playing it. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, this is good enough for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for Cyberpunk. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. They have a good track record.
Yeah. So before I upgrade to any of these cards, I'm going to have to change my whole computer.
Yeah, I definitely need a new motherboard, probably a new CPU.
I'm just going to wait until next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be buying a PS5 next year. I'm just going to be like, whatever.
Yeah, or I will see Black Friday. Could have some good deals.
Yeah, that's true. So, speaking of next gen, the last piece of news I want to talk about is the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X.
Mm-hmm.
They were recently announced with prices, and the S was, leaked.
What's
but
the difference again? One has a disk drive and one doesn't?
I have the specs here. So, they're supposed to come out on November 10th, both of them.
Okay.
So, the S is significantly smaller. It's like, I don't know. You know how like the size of the PS4 is like pretty big?
There's like a slim version.
Yeah. The Series S is like a little bit taller than like a GameCube.
Okay.
And a little bit slimmer, with like a giant. I don't know. Is there a speaker on the front? Maybe it's an air cooler, but there's like a giant circle in the middle of it.
Okay.
It doesn't have a disk drive. Just has like a USB slot on the front. So it's all digital. It runs 1440p at 120 frames per second. DirectX ray tracing, ultra low latency. It's got a custom 512 gigabyte SSD. It can do 4K streaming, media playback, and 4K upscaling for games.
Okay.
So that's priced at $299. Pretty affordable, right?
$300? That's like a Wii.
When it first came out, yeah. That's true. So now, on the other side of that, you have the Series X, which is the giant air purifier.
Yeah.
And that is... it's got a 1 terabyte SSD, up to 120 frames per second, 4K, and eventually 8K compatible.
Yeah.
12
you'll need a TV that runs that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, those are for the crazy people.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, so what if it's 4K? If you don't have a 4K TV, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just like, okay. It's got 12 teraflops of power, and it's priced at $499.
That's actually not too bad either.
Yeah. Pretty affordable.
Yeah.
No word on the PS5's price yet. People are still speculating.
I imagine that Xbox is doing that to stay competitive.
Yeah.
Because again, $399 is pretty cheap. So I think they're doing that to compete with PlayStation. Because I imagine the PlayStation console might be more expensive.
Yeah, and that's cool. I'm down. Again, I'm gonna wait for the newer versions of the PS5 before I hop on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally probably won't get an Xbox because, as I mentioned before, a lot of the games are coming out on PC.
Yeah, because
So
it's
there's no point.
Microsoft, so I'm probably just gonna play PC games anyways.
The only one I care about is Halo Infinite, and that's coming out on PC on Steam.
Yeah, but that got delayed, so well,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, if we still have to play all the Master Chief
that's
Master
true.
Chief Collection
Yeah.
games too, so it must wait. So that's it for news. Now we're gonna go into stuff that we're playing. What are you playing? You touched on some of the
I've
stuff.
been playing. A game I bought recently is Control. Have you heard of that game?
No, what is it?
Okay, so it's by Remedy, who made Alan Wake, which I've never played, but there's some loose tie-ins. It takes place in the same universe as Alan Wake, actually.
I lied. I actually do know this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So if for those listening, if you've ever heard of the SCP Foundation, which is
my
like this
God,
really
wait.
old, like it's like an open source sort of what do you call it, like a database of paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
Like not real paranormal. It's all fictional. But as far as I'm aware, there's like thousands of files on like weird paranormal events
Right.
and places and objects.
And people can just submit to it.
Yeah, people can.
you know?
I'm sure there's someone who curates it, like
Yeah.
like a moderator or whatever. But yeah, but it's loosely based on that. So
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
so in Control, you're part of the Federal Bureau of Control, the FBC, and it's this government organization, American government organization located in New York that
course.
monitors paranormal events and paranormal objects.
That's cool.
And so you play as a character who becomes the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. And she has a past that involves like some paranormal activity, and that kind of links to the story. And I'm not really gonna touch on story spoilers. I may touch on gameplay spoilers, just because it's hard to talk about a game without talking about the gameplay mechanics. But yeah, like it's you get like psychic powers, and you can use telekinesis, and you can use you can float in the air and do kinds of cool stuff. And there's a gun. Like if you've ever seen the trailers or footage, you have this cool, like it's a pistol, but it like morphs into different guns, or like morphs into different modes, I guess you could say. So there's your standard pistol mode. There's a Gatling gun, like it's called spin mode, where it's like a Gatling gun, and then there's a sniper mode, there's a rocket launcher mode, or like it shoots, like basically rockets, or it's like a grenade launcher mode, etc. So yeah, you have this morph gun called the service pistol, or the service gun, and then you go around this facility. The facility is pretty cool because the building itself that houses all these paranormal objects is itself like paranormal. Like the building itself is sort of alive and it moves around. It's kind of like a Harry Potter building, like
Okay.
it changes and rooms shift around, and it's funny because you'll see posters on the walls saying like can't find your office. That means the room is shifting or something like that. Or like you can hear this radio message was like if you've noticed that your office space has changed, simply walk out of the room talking to yourself calmly. You'll be able to calm yourself and the room. I was like, okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, and it's interesting because it's like, they don't really explain this, but a lot of the technology in the office is like old school, like old computers and old, old clocks and like monitors and whatever. And so I thought like does this take place in the 80s or something? But no, it does take place in 2019. Like you can find that through like files that have dates on them. But for whatever reason, there's like posters that say avoid modern technology. So I don't know what the storyline behind that is.
Yeah, maybe the building doesn't like it or whatever.
So it has like this old school look, but technically it does take place in 2019 when the game came out.
That must be frustrating to work on.
Yeah. I mean, there's like people die all the time in this place. Apparently, like it's normal for people to get killed by these paranormal events.
Then you have to hire someone else, and that's annoying.
Yeah. But it's funny. Like it's one of those games where the story is kind of confusing and the lore is kind of confusing, but you find it throughout. Like these files, obviously, because it's an old building and they use old technology, so you find files like paper files throughout the world, and up to you if you want to read them. But obviously, if you're interested in this kind of story, then I do encourage reading the files. Some of them are pretty funny. Like you can go to this one like file area, this one area where they store a lot of files submitted by like people, like just random citizens of the US that submit files about paranormal activity, and part of the role of the FBC is to sift through these and find which one of these might actually legitimately be paranormal activity and which of these are just crazy people. And so you can read some of the documentation, and some of it's pretty funny. But yeah, there is a tie-in with Alan Wake. I've never played Alan Wake. I don't know much about it. But it's the DLC. I did play the DLC that involves Alan Wake, and it's pretty cool because you have to use a light mechanic, which is what and Alan Wake is about that, where you have to shine lights, you have to use a flashlight. So they add that mechanic to the DLC, and that's kind of cool. And I currently beat the main game, but I'm doing the DLC, and then I'm on the second DLC, which is called Foundation. And it goes sort of into the backstory of how the FBC was created and how the building came to be, because the FBC existed before they moved into this weird paranormal building. But yeah, it's I'm currently in that DLC, and I'm interested in seeing like the lore and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're interested in a cool single player game, it's really fun. I would say one of my main complaints is the AI. I wouldn't say it's bad, but the enemy AI, it's not super smart, so it's easy to outsmart the AI and avoid them. I wouldn't say it's particularly challenging per se.
So it's like Ghost of Tsushima AI.
Yeah, where like it's only challenging because of how hard they hit you, not necessarily their mechanics.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, it's still fun. The ally AI, sometimes you have to like work with NPCs. Again, they're also not that smart either, so sometimes they'll just die. Like the AI soldiers fighting with you will die, and that's usually not that big of a deal because you can deal with the enemies on your own. But there are certain missions. They're like these alert missions, like these missions that pop up and they're like, hey, get to this place in 20 minutes and you can get some extra XP or extra rewards or whatever. Some of those involve protecting NPCs, and I never do those because the NPCs always die because there's like these suicide bomber enemies and the NPCs do not avoid them. Like the allies will just like still shoot at them. Sometimes they'll even move closer to get a better shot, and the suicide bomber enemies will just run up to them, explode, and they just die. So it's not worth it doing the protection, the VIP protection missions.
Oh my god.
But yeah, like the other missions are pretty cool. But yeah, and it's sort of open world. It's one of those. It's kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, where you can kind of explore the map, but then certain areas are locked off until you do a certain story mission. But yeah, like the whole facility opens up to you, and you can explore the whole bureau. And there's like side areas, side missions that you don't have to do. But then they give you other rewards, and then there's like a main mission, and the main story is pretty interesting. I wish they explained more things because again, it's supernatural and there's some mystery to it. But there are certain things that I wish they explained more of, but maybe they'll do that in the Foundation DLC, which I'm currently playing. But yeah, there's some things where I'm like, I wish I kind of knew more of what was going on there. But yeah, I would give it a solid like 8 out of 10. Like it's pretty good so far. But yeah, definitely check it out if you're interested in a single player experience.
I'm curious.
Yeah,
I need more.
It's on. I don't know if it's still on sale, but they went the whole thing, like including all the DLC, went on sale for like $30 on Steam.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a good like 30-40 hour game so far. Like I'm in like 20 something hours in. That's including the DLC. So yeah, I'm like 30 something hours in. So far, so good.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm interested. You mentioned SCP, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and like, unlocking all the powers and exploring the facility because like secret areas you can find. Like if you use your levitation ability, or you check the map and you're like, oh, there's an area over here, but I've never been required to go there. You can like check it out, and it's kind of cool.
Cool. Very cool. And you already touched on Destiny 2 and Warzone, which we've already exhausted.
Yeah. Destiny 2 not so much, just because the expansion was supposed to come out in October, but now it's coming out in November. So me and my friends are just kind of waiting for the expansion, not really doing anything there. And then Warzone, they released an update. There's a train now. So like it moves to the map, and I don't really see anyone go for the train. Like, I don't know. It's cool in concept, but there's not really much of a reason to use the train. There's like a couple chests on there, but you can just find those chests anywhere else anyways. But they did add this thing where you can find these red key cards on the map, and there's several secret vaults around the map. You can look them up. Like they're in specific static spots. And if you find the red key card, you can use the key card to open up one of these vaults. And if you go inside, there's like a ton of like legendary chests with like legendary quality loot. And yeah, you can just use that. I found a couple of those with my friends. One time, the vault we went to was outside of the circle, and so we went into the vault, and then the gas started closing in on us. I'm like, we spent too much time getting here, too much time inside this vault, and we had to run. And my whole team ended up dying, so we got a ton of loot. We were just decked out on loot.
Oh my god!
And my whole team died except for me.
What?
But then I ran to like revive all of them at like this, one of those vendor stations, and then I just got jumped on by a full team of 4 people, and I was like, ah. So you got to be careful if you're gonna use those red key cards.
Right.
Make sure you know where the vaults are, and make sure that you don't take your time. Like, just be quick about it.
There you go. Some Warzone one-on-one tips.
Yeah.
101 tips from Jordan. That's awesome. Okay. I mean, we've played our fair share of battle royales, so
Yeah,
we
there's
know.
always new battle royales. I think I'll probably stick with Warzone for now, just
Yeah.
because PUBG is kind of, I don't know, I mean, it's cool, but I don't know, there's nothing too interesting about it. It's just the shooter. Fortnite, I can't really get into the building. It's just not for me. Apex I really like Apex Legends, but I think the audience for it has been severely reduced. So it's
Oh man.
you know, I know people who play it still, and they say like it's a lot harder to find games just because there's not as many people who play.
That's sad.
But Warzone, you know, it's super popular. It's made by a reputable company that makes lots of games, you know, and it's a known franchise, you know, Call of Duty, so there's always gonna be people playing it.
Yeah.
And I like the mechanics. I especially like the gulag mechanic, where you know if you die, you get a second chance. Lately I've been winning most of my gulags.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Like every time I die first in the game, then I can just get myself back pretty easily. But yeah, I like it so far, and I think I'll stick with it as long as they don't make any changes that make the game worse.
How many times have you died in the gulag?
I don't know if I can
More?
count.
Have you won more times than
I would
death?
say I would say in the beginning it was a little harder,
Yeah.
just getting used to the mechanics. I would say now I win like at least like 8 out of 10 gulags
Oh,
matches.
wow.
So
That's
yeah,
that's high ratio.
yeah. Especially whenever there's shotguns, I always win. I'm really good with shotguns in that game. Yeah, but shotguns aren't that good because like it's one of those games where you have to be like, you know, in real life a shotgun can shoot pretty far.
Right.
Like you could shoot someone from like, you know, like 100 meters away or whatever. I don't know. the
Sure.
specifics.
I don't know either.
Yeah, but like shotguns in real life, like you use shotguns for hunting, like, it's one of those games for balancing purposes. You have to be really close to people in order for shotguns to even be remotely effective. But like when I do get in those situations, like shotguns are pretty strong, and I love using them.
Oh wow, you've mastered that part of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, like there was a game where I was able to kill an entire team by just using a shotgun and
Oh
just
my
dodging
God.
people indoors, and I was able to wipe out an entire team by myself, just like
Damn.
just like I was hiding, and then when people run up to me, I just pull out the shotgun because there was one shotgun, the Origin 12. It's like an auto shotgun.
Wow.
You can down someone in 2 shots, and you can do those 2 shots like as fast as you can click your mouse. So you just
Oh my God.
boom, boom, and then they're gone. And it takes them, even if they have like a really fast firing SMG, it takes them a long time to like, or obviously not a long time, but significantly longer than a shotgun to kill you. But yeah, like if you're in an open field and you have a shotgun, you're screwed. But like if you're in a close quarter situation, you'll just own people with a
Oh
shotgun.
wow. Another pro tip.
Yeah. But again, it just be very careful because there are situations where you have to be in an open field. Like a shotgun will be completely useless.
Sure.
So don't rely completely on a shotgun. But
Absolutely.
it is fun. It is fun to use a shotgun.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you're playing those. Anything else you're playing?
Me and my friends and I are planning on getting back into Path of Exile. We haven't played for a while, but there is a new league. Leagues are basically like seasons in Path of Exile. So there's a new league coming out not tomorrow, but next Friday, which is called Heist League, and so it's literally what it sounds like. You rob a bank, you put together a team.
Ocean's
and
11.
Yeah, and you rob a bank, but you know, like it's in a sort of gothic fantasy setting, so it's kind of cool, like steampunk setting. And yeah, so you rob a bank, and you have to put together a crew of NPCs, and so that's kind of cool. And since it's been a while since we played, the game's been updated a lot. So like when we come back to it, it'll feel more fresh and new, and be like, oh, there's all these cool new things to experience. Because when you're playing a game like a games as a service game for a while, and the updates are really slow and incremental, like here's a little update here, and next month another little update, it still starts to get kind of stale. Where you're like, that's kind of cool, but it's kind of the same thing over and over again. So sometimes I like waiting a while, and then over time a game gets updated a lot, and then when you come back to it, you're like, oh wow, there's all these cool things. Oh, this is new and this is new. So you know, I think Path of Exile is gonna be one of those games for me where it's like I'll play for a little bit, then I'll take a break for a while, and then I'll jump back in when there's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah. There's nothing better than waiting for an update.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Path of Exile's on your list. Awesome. Anything else? Any other games?
That's it for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
On my end, I touched on Dead by Daylight DLC that came out. There's a character called the Blight. He's a killer. He's a dude that did a lot of experiments on himself, and so he like stabs himself with a needle, and he can run really fast. But you can't attack people when you're running. You can like bounce off of walls, and then you can hit someone. It's really weird.
You can bounce off a wall.
Yeah,
Okay.
you like run to the wall, you smack the wall, and then there's a second delay where he like pulls up his weapon again, and then you can attack people. So when you initially start running, you can't hurt anyone, but if you hit a surface, then you can start hitting people after that.
Oh, so like if you're playing against him, you have to avoid walls. Is that
Yeah.
the thing?
No, well,
idea?
if you're playing against him, you know that on his initial charge at you, he can't hurt you. He has to hit something. So when he hits something, he has to find you again. So it's kind of easy to dodge him.
Okay.
But there's going to be people that are going to get really good.
Like
with
really
him.
good, yeah.
So some of his perks include like if you're near any totem, he can see you. If he can block pallets from being pulled down, and it sounds pretty OP, right?
Yeah, it sounds kind of OP.
The survivors perks, I'm not going to even mention them because they're like really shit.
Okay.
So the killers perks are like really OP. A lot of
Yeah.
people have been like leveling him up so that his perks appear in other killers like blood webs, so that the people who play like let's say like Demogorgon,
Yeah.
they can get his perks and put it on the Demogorgon. So now
Okay.
you're using the Blight's perks on another character, and it's like, oh shit! Now all these perks of blocking pallets and stuff are now on other characters, and it's difficult because you don't know if that killer's gonna have those perks.
Yeah.
You know?
It sounds like standard PvP multiplayer where new thing comes out, new thing is OP, new thing gets nerfed after everybody starts using it.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping happens in the future. Because right now there's people saying, "Oh, survivors are too OP," and there's other people saying, "Oh, killers are too OP," and the devs are like,
That'll always be the case.
"Yeah, exactly."
You know,
exactly.
again, I played Destiny 2, and Destiny 2 PvP is pretty popular, and it's like this gun's OP, and then this gun's OP. Like there's always gonna be balancing issues every season, every update. There's always gonna be balancing.
and always people complaining. So
Yeah, and some complaints are pretty valid. Like when everybody's using the same gun or the same character or the same ability or whatever.
yeah,
You're like, yeah, maybe this is OP. Like this is not fun game if everybody's using the same thing.
yeah, no, and also maybe some gameplay mechanics. Like in Dead by Daylight, if you jump over something, sometimes the killer will still hit you, and you're
Yeah.
like, "How did that happen?" Because I was clearly like away from them.
Yeah.
And I've seen it multiple times where I guess your character's hitbox doesn't fully leave that space, so the killer could still hit you, even if it looks like it didn't hit you. And it's like, what the heck? Like, come on, guys. Those are the things that I think they need to fix, but it's kind of difficult because it's so embedded into the system of the game.
Yeah, like it's probably harder to because it's in the code. So,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. And apparently the code is so spaghetti based that they're trying to like decipher it and work with what they have, but it's so like messed up. So
Yeah.
if they add an update, it'll break something, and they have to figure out where it broke. And it's like, oh my god, you guys,
Yeah,
fix your code.
Yeah,
Jesus.
every game deals with that. Like Warzone, there was a moment where I wasn't playing during this time, but one of my friends was playing. He's mentioned that there was an update where if you drove a vehicle into a specific part of the map, it would crash the entire server.
Oh my god.
So they just removed vehicles temporarily for a while.
Really?
But they reintroduced them eventually. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
So every game deals with weird glitches and mechanics in the code when things get updated.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dead by Daylight, my normal gripes and complaints.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side of that, not too much else. I mean, I've been playing Animal Crossing every day, but I've noticed that my time playing it has been significantly reduced to like 10 minutes or 15 minutes of just playing it.
Yeah, I've been playing only every other day or so. I'll probably jump back in when there's another like holiday event
Yeah.
thing. So next one probably being like Turkey Day. I know they do like a Thanksgiving thing, which is
Right.
obviously exclusive to like North America, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do like a thanks because I know in previous games they've done that.
I'm waiting for that too. And
Yeah.
in the meantime,
I guess before that is Halloween. So
Yeah.
it'll probably be Halloween. event.
probably next month, something
Yeah.
Halloween related. I mean, why are we getting all these costumes?
Yeah.
So I stopped hitting rocks. I stopped digging for fossils, and I stopped digging like the glowing spot in the ground.
Yeah.
Because there came a point where I had all these money trees, but I didn't.
Yeah,
use
I have
any
way
or
too
anything.
much money that I'm
Yeah.
just like I'm not even spending most of it.
Yeah, and I already 5-starred my island.
Yeah.
And so I'm at the point now where, like, what do I want to do? The other day, one of my villagers was like, I want to leave. And I'm like, okay, you're the first villager I ever got. Like, one of the first villagers I ever
Yeah.
got. You know, the ones that you start the island with?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, you can leave because his house was boring. And so in his place, I got someone named Puck. Do you remember Puck from the GameCube
Oh
one?
yeah, is he the one with he's a penguin, right?
Yeah, he's a penguin. And he came to my town. I was like, yo. So he's cool.
cool.
He's a jock. I didn't have to change the plot of land he's around because they put like workout stuff around the house because the original guy was a
Nice.
jock too.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have to change anything because he's still a jock, so you get his hand me downs.
It's cool.
So I got him. He came in today, so
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just like
Yeah, I need
just
to
talking
check.
to him.
I need to check on my neighbors, see if any of them are leaving.
Oh yeah, I know, right? So yeah, because I stopped doing all the things that kind of help propel the game, I kind of, you know, kind of started regressing on playing it. But I did manage to catch all the fish up to this point now.
Like,
So
okay, all the fish since release.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I even caught the barrel eye, which was really hard to find.
Yeah, I got one of those too. Like super late at night, right?
Yeah. It's like from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. is
Yeah.
when it appears.
Yeah.
So I finally caught that. I only have like 2 open spots on the Critterpedia thing.
Mm-hmm.
So waiting for that. I missed one of the bugs, which was the cicada shell, and I've been telling you that I can't find it.
Yeah.
Still couldn't find it up until the last day. Apparently, you're supposed to like have it rain in your town, and when it starts raining, you can find it.
Oh.
And it was raining on the 30th of August. It was the 31st. That was a Monday, and I was like, oh crap! It was raining that day, and for 2 hours I looked and I couldn't find it. I was so disappointed. I was like, I have so many trees, and I couldn't find it, and I was just, ugh.
I don't know.
So that's like one of the only bugs they couldn't find, and now I'm waiting for the other 2 to show up because I'm missing 3. And then once I catch the other 2, and that last one, which is the shell, I'm gonna have to wait until next July to get. It's gonna be a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. I've been trying to catch I caught all the bugs, caught all the fish, and I caught all the
The sea creatures.
Yeah, the
that,
deep dive
that are
creatures.
available right now.
Yeah, so I'm waiting until the next few months just to catch the others.
Yeah.
I've been trying to meet Pascal every day just to get pearls or mermaid stuff
Yeah.
just because I want to complete that whole set
Collection.
to have it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it. I just want to have it.
Yeah.
I just visit Nooks every day. I visit the Able Sisters to see if there's anything I missed. I just want to catalog things now.
Yeah, like I have too much
Yeah.
stuff. Like my house, I don't have any more storage.
Yep, I know, right? And so I've been trying to decorate my island with stuff that I already have, but it's kind of hard because, there's a certain theme that you want to have, but at the same time, not everything will fit that theme.
Yeah.
So, and you can't sell everything because some of it, if you sell it, you won't be able to get it back because either Gulliver gave it to you,
Yeah.
or it was from like the Cherry Blossom event or Bunny Day event.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you do with it?
I think I have too many clothes too. Like I keep buying clothes. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
I'm never gonna wear some of it. So
Same. Like today, I
Like-
just cataloged all the mariachi outfits. I'm like, what am I gonna do with this?
yeah, or like this space suit is cool, but then where am I ever gonna wear the space suit
Yeah.
or whatever? So I don't know.
I'm like, maybe I'll use it in the future, but I never use it.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm
yeah.
just a hoarder.
Yeah. Animal Crossing is the ultimate hoarder game.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm like trying to sell stuff, but every time I sell stuff, I buy new stuff. I'm like, I have a problem.
yep. Yep.
So yeah, I'm at the point now where I play it like once every day, and then I just turn it off because I don't know what else to do.
Do your dailies.
Yeah, my dailies have been significantly reduced to checking the stores,
Yeah.
going on the Nook app,
Checking the beach.
yeah, or trying to get all the music by talking to KK Slider, which
Oh,
happens
yeah.
only every Saturday,
Yeah.
or hoping that one of his tracks that I don't have.
Did you do all the fireworks stuff?
I did. If you go to my front yard, it's just covered with August fireworks stuff. I don't know what to do.
I actually barely touched
Oh,
it.
if you want some of it, you can have
Yeah.
it. Because I have so many of the fireworks that you light on the ground. I have so many of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do with it. I'm just gonna save it until I guess wintertime or next
don't
summer.
know.
I don't know. But I'm sure there's people on online who want that stuff. But
Yeah.
then I don't. If I sell it, there's no point because I don't need the money, and I could just buy Nook to Miles tickets for myself if I want to find a new village.
Yeah.
It's just. Animal Crossing is such a complicated game for me right now. It should be a game where I just chill and relax, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So, maybe I hope they add more updates with more content.
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting. I mean, I'm tired of what's his face, Red coming every 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, like he barely shows up. So how are you ever supposed to get all the paintings? Like he rarely shows himself.
I give up because sometimes the paintings that are real are the ones that I already have in the museum, so I'll
Yeah.
just end up buying the fake one.
So yeah, I buy the ones that are cool looking now because I'm like I don't really care that much about the museum.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, there's nothing else that I'm playing. Yeah, we've been going for about an hour. Anything else you want to talk about before we close out?
Well, no, I think that's it.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Jordan, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
If you guys want to leave us a comment or question, go to www.downtime.live, click on the contact form, leave us a comment or question that way. You can email us the old-fashioned way at contact@downtime.live. We'll read the comment or question on the podcast. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast / iTunes, and we'll read that one on the podcast. Wherever this podcast is hosted, you can leave a comment or question, and we will also read it on the podcast. we have a Discord, which is available in the description of wherever this is hosted. Just click on the word Discord or click on the link and you'll be able to go there. Where we talk about everything from anime, video games, movies, TV shows, music. Yeah, just have a good old jolly fun time. And that's it for all the housekeeping stuff. Thanks again, Jordan, for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
This has been podcast episode 143. Thank you for listening.
Stay healthy.